Carl Foss here.
Nick Priest.
Barbara Addison Reed. So the first item we have on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from August the 10th.
I sent those out this morning. Did anyone that had a chance to look at them see anything that needs to be added or amended?
I did see it, and I did not see anything that needed to be changed.
I agree. I read it, and the report was complete.
Then I shall move to approve the minutes from August 10th, 2022.
Second. All those in favor, please identify yourself.
Nick Priest, aye.
Carl Foss, aye.
BJ, aye. Right. The second item that we have on the agenda is the Select Board and the DEI Leadership Program. Lynn did put out an email, and there were two dates there, the 30th and the 31st of August. Saeed cannot meet because he still has family there. And so Lynn put out another email today with a new date. And I went on and registered and put in for the 19th of September, which is a Monday evening at 5. And she is waiting. I got a email back from her, but I couldn't see if anybody else had voted other than the 4 that were there earlier.
Yeah, I went in today and voted. I picked Monday and Wednesday both times. I think it was just in case other folks had. Like I could also be available on Wednesday, but when I was in there, I saw you, BJ, and a couple other folks had selected Monday as well. So, that might be the day, but we'll see how the rest of the doodle poll nets out and go from there.
Right. I did send an email to Paul yesterday, and again, I copied you, Nick, and extended the invitation to him again in writing and suggested that he would invite Joanne to participate with us because some of what we will focus on are the human resources policy, procedure, and practice. And we need to determine what happened with union contracts. And then together we can decide what we need to have in the Burlington Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Scorecard. And she's the person that I would work, support, suggest, and show her the report, and then be able to determine how we would gather data and go from there. So
Yep.
it's important that they both be connected to the process.
Agreed. I was at town hall today. I know that we've extended the invitation to Joanne, and I believe Paul is planning on being there. And if Paul can't make it for some reason, I know that John Denizio, our assistant town administrator, is also making an effort to be. So one of them will hopefully at least be there.
Yeah, well, Paul smiled when we invited him at the last select board meeting. I mean, he looked at me and grinned. I thought, good. It's just what we want to have happen. Okay. The next item on the list is the executive meetings that we have had with the Burlington executives. And we already had a report for the ambassador. I'm sorry, the assessor. And we did have a report from the health board and the recreation and community. And we're waiting on, we met with school committee as well, and the library. So the two that hadn't been covered are the town clerk. Nancy and I met with Amy on August 10th. She already has a mission statement, but is looking to review that. And she suggested that before she could devote time and energy to that, she needed to get through the November vote. So we're waiting to engage with her. I offered to provide her with some direction. She said no, she'd rather do it with her team, which is fine. So we'll wait to hear from her. The last one we have is the planning board chair. And Nancy and I met with Barbara on the 19th of August. And the first
DJ, you met with, was that Barbara LaRue?
Yes.
Okay.
The first thing that she wanted to do, Nick, was to talk about the decision and the vote that came up at the last select board meeting. And a gentleman started off by, I met him when he came into the room before any of the select board members arrived. And he introduced himself to me and I gave him my name. I asked him if he had an agenda. He said no. So I sent him to the select board office to get a copy. And then he came back and wanted to talk about his interview that he had had with the planning board. And he wanted to address that and said that he would speak. And he shared with me that he wanted to speak for 30 minutes. I responded and said that anytime they open the communication for people to speak, you have between 2 and 3 minutes. So I had prepared him for what might happen once the board did the Pledge of Allegiance and opened up the meeting. He was disappointed. And when Barbara scheduled the meeting with us, with Nancy and me, she wanted to talk about what happened. And she sent an outline of that, which Nancy and I could listen to. And of course, her take on how the committee managed it was different than what the person had experienced. And so we talked a little bit about that. Based on that conversation, then Barbara shared with us, she understood that we are meeting with the select board to look at what's the content for how we are talking about what belongs with diversity, equity, and inclusion. And Barbara said that she would like for Nancy and me to submit a one-page paper. And I suggested to Nancy that we also provide our ethnic mosaic chart or an outline for Nancy on what she's done with her career so that they understand who we are as people. And then, of course, the framework, which I've shared with you, is the philosophy, core values, all the way to self-evaluation. Just outline that on the page to give the focus for how the conversation might go. We did say, and I copied Nancy on an email, that we would work on the one page and send that on the 15th of September. So Barbara could then view it and talk with us about it. And then we would finalize by the 20th. And the planning board is meeting on the 29th of September. And that's where she will present the documents that Nancy and I prepare. So it looks as though Barbara is saying that the planning board may want to catch up with where we are headed with our committee. She thought they could meet with us, and I thought that it's best if the two of us meet first, along with Joanne and Paul, to figure out where we're going, and that could guide the direction on how we're going to present to other teams that may want to join in that learning process. So it's just an update of where we stand, but I felt like we were moving forward, which was a good measurement for me, not to hang back and try and make the most out of just outlining what goes in the annual report. And oh, by the way, I did pull out the Burlington annual report and sent Nancy an email on page 78. In that report, it gives like a 3 or 4 page document the planning board submitted to have published in the annual report. And in that are listed the laws that they have to abide by. So it's good for us to have that as a foundation before we settle on what our one page is going to be. So I feel like we made some progress there. Are there any other comments from either of you or anybody that's listening? No?
I was thinking about it. I don't think I have anything of real relevance at this
I saw
point.
your eyes go up.
Yeah, we are contemplating. Yeah, nothing at this point.
Okay, good.
Same for me.
Well, are no other agenda items, our next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, the 7th of September at 6. And we already have the WEBEX set up for that. And so a motion to adjourn?
Hold on, I see Sherry Ellis has her hand raised.
Oh, okay.
Hi, thanks for recognizing me. I just wanted to say for a minute that I applaud all the work that your committee is doing. I'm sorry the other two, Nancy and Syed, aren't here. I think you're really moving, as slow it sometimes may seem, a great process. And I think really having these boards and committees really review things and hearing where other people are coming from. Your comments a few minutes ago, BJ, about the gentleman from who interviewed at the planning board, knowing where people come from is really, and knowing where boards and committees come from. I think having philosophy statements, or even as we have with employees, we have job descriptions. What's a description of some of these boards, and being able to come into some kind of continuity with all that, I think that will really help the public understand what these boards and committees do, along with who they are. And I just think it's a great thing going forward. And I, again, applaud you for doing that. I would also ask, I think I sent an email a week or so ago, that when you're done with the executive branch, maybe head on over to the legislative branch. As far as town meeting goes, there's 126 of us, and and one moderator. And I think we could use a little bit of philosophy and a statement of who we are, and again, be more representative of the population that we serve. So just that comment, and again, just want to thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Harry.
Any other comments? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's a
Vote,
quick one
please.
tonight.
Please vote, yes or no.
Nick Priest, aye.
Carl Voss, aye.
BJ, aye. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a great
Night.
night.
Bye.